Hi again, this is part 2 of kombucha. So this is the second ferment after you have made the first ferment. So you'll have had your kombucha and your SCOBY working away for a week, kept it in a cupboard or a dark place and at a sort of good room temperature. And so we want to do the second ferment now, which is adding some more sugar to make it fizzier so that it starts to take on flavours as well if you want. So start by using or getting some either like a one litre clip top bottle or some of the 500, and this is one that I made earlier. So this is a second ferment with some fruit in, which is going to start to help it to fizz up. And I just use, you have to be really careful doing this, but I just use some boiling water to sterilise the bottle. Even though we're working with bacteria, there's certain bacteria we don't want, so I just sterilise the bottle. And then that warmth as well will give the kombucha a little boost. And I'm using, at the moment, you can either use organic, fresh apple juice as your form of sugar, or I've been using this Suma organic product because it sort of stores a bit easier and for a bit longer as well, because I don't use up all the organic apple juice. So this is an apple juice concentrate, and this one is apple and blackcurrant juice, and you can get an elderberry one as well if you don't make your own. So what I will do is put, just checking that you can see this, what I'm doing. This is another trial video, so I'm going to put some of the apple and blackcurrant juice in. So it's kind of like making a sort of cordial drink, in that you don't want to add too much, and certainly I think that sometimes there is some sugar still left in it because it hasn't maybe properly fermented all of it. So you do need to be careful not to add too much, because otherwise you will then have that sugar hit, which might not necessarily be great for your blood sugar levels if you're trying to keep those balanced. So using a, good to open the bottle first, using a funnel, just pouring in a small amount of it. So I've poured in about that much, you can see that. And then you'll take your first ferment kombucha and just pour that into the bottle. And these bottles will go again in a dark cupboard at room temperature for another 7 days. You'll notice bits going in. That's quite normal. As long as you don't get any grey mould or black mould, you do get some of these bits. Now, with this, I'm also going to add some ginger. So I'm just going to chop some ginger, or you can grate the ginger. And this might make it a little bit more bubbly as well, because some of the properties of ginger do seem to make each ferment. Some will be more bubbly than others, according to what fruit you add. So you could add like strawberries or rhubarb, ginger, lemon. And what else did I add in the summer? Some apple itself, raspberries, blueberries, whatever takes your fancy, you know, mix and match, listen to your intuition, what feels good for you. And then think about the properties of the things that you're using and the health benefits of those as well. So there we've got a second ferment of the kombucha. It'll go into a cupboard, as I said, for 7 days, and you know that it's ready when, again, it starts to smell a little bit vinegary, but not, it's got like a tiny bite, but still a little bit sugary as well. You may even want to taste it, and it is recommended that daily or every few days, especially if you start to notice lots of fizzing, that you burp it. So to do that, especially if you haven't done it after 7 days, you may want to ease the bottle top off slightly. I don't know whether this one will demonstrate it a bit better. So, because you can have explosions with this. I was on the loo once and suddenly had a huge explosion from the kitchen, and in the cupboard, yeah, it had gone everywhere. And this does happen until you sort of get into the habit of burping it. So yeah, there's a little bit of fizz there. And then sometimes as you move the fruit on top, because that can keep the fizz in as well, you notice that the bubbles start rising as well. So you can leave the fruit in and just eat the fruit as well, or sieve the fruit off maybe and just sort of put it with a pudding or something like that, on some bio yogurt or something like that. Okay, so after the second ferment, after 7 days, you then need to put it into a bottle which you can store in your refrigerator or a very cold place, because you don't want it to ferment anymore. So handy wine bottles, because they're glass, obviously you don't really want to be using plastic. So I quite often use just the screw top bottles, and again make sure that I use boiling water or very hot water. Do be careful, because I've again had some accidents with the glass and the very hot water. Sometimes people put the glass in a low oven, so maybe, you know, gas quarter if you've got that, or a very, very low oven, so that they heat and sterilise in that way. And then obviously they will keep for longer. So you've got your bottles in the fridge then, ready to go and to give to friends. I tend to just have a little bit with every meal, so just a small, I've got a glass handy, yeah, just a small amount with my meal, so it's sort of like, it's not adding extra liquid to your meal which will interfere with your digestion, but just a little bit. And you know, it's great to share with friends as well. And for people who perhaps, you know, are prone to wanting to have an alcoholic drink and trying to not you know, cut down on alcohol, kombucha may actually be quite a good alternative for you, because I think sometimes when we have a desire for alcohol, it can actually be a desire for sugar, but also the fact that kombucha is fermented. Is there something lacking in the gut of people who are wanting to have a drink that they're trying to get from a fermented product? So try some fermented products as well to replace that, you know, or see if it replaces that desire for alcohol if you're wanting to cut down, and just enjoy. Any questions, any thoughts, just let me know.